What's up, Stitches? Pounding this pen against the floor and I don't know why. What's up, Stitches? Welcome to the Ranney Knits podcast. This is a knitting podcast with the occasional other fibery craft thrown in just for fun. My name is Justine Ranney and I am a knitter, hence the name. Hence the name Ranney Knits. It has been a minute since I have recorded a podcast. I am doing Vlogmas this month, which is a challenge, I guess? I don't really know. It's a thing. It's a YouTube thing that people do where they publish a video log or vlog, video blog, video log. I don't know where the term vlog comes from. I'm obviously very good at this YouTube thing. Anyway, you post a video every day just talking about what you're doing that day or whatever you want. Just you do you. I am doing me. I am posting videos for Vlogmas, and I wasn't going to do a podcast this month. The podcast conundrum. If this were a Big Bang episode, that's what this would be called. No, it would probably be called something much more clever than that. The podcast thing. So in the last couple months, I haven't really wanted to podcast that much. It's kind of, I think it's the format that is getting me. I think going through and talking about whips and talking about FOs and talking about stash acquisitions or whatever, it works for other people and that's awesome, and I love watching other people's podcasts that are formatted like that, but for me, I don't think that's what I'm going to be doing anymore. I'm hoping to make my podcasts more focused on a certain topic or a certain thing, so not necessarily just everything I've been working on. And especially, like right now, I can't tell you what I've been working on because it's a secret, and I have a couple more projects coming up that are gonna be the same, so I'm going to have a hard time with current content, I guess, so I'm just trying to figure out what works for me, and I may go back to the other format one of these days. I just don't want to give up altogether on this thing because I have been doing this for a year now and it's been really fun, and I've met a lot of good people, and I just really appreciate everyone who's tuned in, who's commented, who's subscribed, who's liked my videos. It's been a really good way for me to meet with people and get a conversation going about what we're making. I am an introvert and I struggle with talking to people in real life. It is tricky, and when you can't edit out all the dumb things you say, it's kind of nerve-wracking. I'm constantly like processing what I'm saying and is this the right thing to say? Yeah, anyway. So doing the podcast and talking with people online and maybe connecting with people who I wouldn't have met if I hadn't been doing the podcast has been really nice and my favorite thing ever. So thank you guys for tuning in and watching me babble on about everything I'm doing. So I don't want to quit, but I have realized that something's got to give. I've got to change something. 2018 is coming to a close, and in the spirit of looking toward what 2019 holds, today's episode is going to be all about my 2019 Make 9 plans. So Make 9 is a Instagram challenge started by Rochelle of Home Row Fiber Co. And it's similar to the hashtag or whatever it is, best 9, where you take your top 9 photos off of Instagram and post them. that's always kind of a fun thing to do, to see what other people responded to the most. So Make 9 is about your future plans for making, in my case it's going to be all knitting, but it could be sewing, it could be crochet, it could be whatever you want to make, but your plans for 9 projects you're planning on making in the coming year. So I've been thinking about my Make 9 projects for a couple months now, and I've narrowed it down to 9 projects. Most of them have been in my queue for a while now. I think the oldest one was probably, the pattern was purchased in January of this year, January 2018. So I've been thinking about these projects for a while, and I just haven't figured out which yarn I'm going to use, or didn't have time to make them this year in 2018. Because I've been thinking about these for quite a while, I have a lot of the yarn already purchased. It's already in my stash. It's ready to go. It's just waiting for me to have the time to make these things. So this episode is going to be talking about patterns and showing yarn, and if that's not your thing, that's okay. You can tune in next time. I will catch you later. This is my first year doing the Make 9 challenge, and I think it's such a good thing to really think about your projects, and I am so guilty of seeing projects on Instagram generally, or Ravelry. I love browsing Ravelry, and I see projects and I immediately want to cast them on. So yes, buy the pattern, I'm gonna make that. And that's great, and it's worked out really well for me. Some of my favorite garments or accessories or knitted items in general are things that I have seen online and cast them on really without thinking about it. But doing a little bit of planning and really thinking about how the piece is going to fit into your wardrobe is something that I would like to get better at, and something that is sounding like more and more like a better idea. So we're gonna plan 2019 a little bit more. I am a fly by the seat of my pants kind of person, but planning things is never a bad thing. On that note, I do have show notes. They're not very complete show notes, but hey, I'm trying. We're working at it. We're gonna get better. If you haven't watched the podcast before, I'm not known for writing show notes. I'm not known. That sounds like people know me. Like, I mean, I did just hit 200 subscribers, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. But yeah, I'm kind of a big deal here. So first up is the Chilkat cowl. This is a pattern by Romy Hill. If my memory serves me, this is a pattern that the designer wrote while on an Alaskan cruise. So I have a special connection to Alaska. I grew up there. So you automatically get me if you design a pattern based on an Alaska thing. So the Chilkat cowl, it's this really nice long cowl that kind of like, does it drape over your shoulders? I can't really remember. It's been a while. But it's got little drawstrings, so as far as I remember you can pull it up and wear it as a hood. And it's got color work. It's really cool. I've been wanting to knit it forever. This one might have been in my queue for over a year. I don't really remember. Yes, probably, because I bought this yarn over a year ago. This is Shibui Knits wait, did they have a, no, I thought they had a pronunciation guide on it. This one. So what's cool about this yarn is it is like a chainette yarn, so it's like Yeah, it's a chainette yarn. It is incredibly soft. It is 70% super baby alpaca and 30% fine merino. Maybe you can see the way it's constructed a little bit better on this red. But I do have, now I remember, yeah, so I've had this for over a year because I caked these up last year when I went home for Christmas. This was going to be one of my projects that I dug into over the holiday break, and I didn't get very far, obviously. I only got as far as caking up the yarn. So these were my original colors. It is a 4-color cowl, I'm pretty sure. And I was originally going to go with these 3 colors. I picked these up at a going out of business sale. One of the local yarn stores closed down. The owners were retiring. So these were the colors that were available. These were like the last ones of this yarn, and I thought that I was looking for, I think this is like a DK weight. I was looking for a DK weight yarn, and this is what I found. This was like their late days of their going out of business sale, so there wasn't a whole lot, but they had these colors and I thought I liked them together. They looked pretty good, so I bought them all. But this brown with these other colors just, whoops, it wasn't really working for me. I wasn't really feeling the brown with these other two. It looks okay. It's not like they don't go together at all, but it just wasn't really for me. So I ordered the white online somewhere, and I think that just looks really nice. And it is very similar to the colors that the designer chose. She didn't use this yarn. So that is my plan for the Chilkat cowl by Ranney Hill. Let's talk another accessory. So Karina Spencer came out with the Better Together shawl, cowl, scarf. I'm not exactly what to call it, but it is a neckwear that has got lace, it's got some striping color work, and the whole thing is tied together with a row of buttons. And I thought that was really cool. I haven't quite decided on what yarn I'm going to use. I have some in stash that might work, but that's my next make 9 that I want to do. These are in not really any order. I'm talking about accessories now. I'll go into sweaters because you know there's going to be sweaters, but this isn't the order that I'm planning to knit these, just the order that I chose to talk about them. So Better Together by Karina Spencer. Don't know what yarn yet. The next accessory is the Mountain Trail Hat by Sandra C. This pattern came out not too long ago. It was only a couple months ago that it came out. I actually won a copy of the pattern. She was doing a giveaway as a celebration of releasing the pattern. It is a beautiful cabled hat. 2018 was the year of sweaters and the year of color work. I didn't do a whole lot of cables, and it hasn't been until recently that I've sort of gotten back into doing cables. It's not that I avoided them, it's just that I happened to choose patterns that were more color work leaning rather than cable leaning, or I didn't do a whole lot of lace work either in 2018. So I thought it would be fun to knit this hat. I think it's a DK weight pattern. Here she is bragging about her show notes, and I didn't write down what weight this pattern was written for. It is either a worsted or a DK weight pattern. it might be worsted, but I might knit it in a DK weight. So I could not find the yarn that I was planning on using. It is the leftovers from the sample knit that I made for Explorer Fibers, the Tecumseh that I knit, and the color was Rust. I'm not sure where that went, but that's the yarn that I was thinking about knitting that one in. The Rust color was the color that went in the little crosses on the Tecumseh. And so there was quite a bit left over, so I could definitely get a hat out of that, and I think it would look really nice with the cables in the mountain trail hat. So speaking of Explorer Fibers and the Tecumseh, as a payment for knitting the sample for her, she sent me a sweater quantity, well, the same amount of yarn that I used to knit her sample. She sent to me in the colors of my choice. So my colors that I chose were, this is Rolled Oats, and this is Treasure Chest, and this one is Pine. So my plan is to knit another Tecumseh because I loved knitting that sweater. I'm going to knit it with the Rolled Oats as the main color and these two as my contrasting colors. And that is the Tecumseh by Caitlin Hunter. I am very much looking forward to knitting this one. And since we're talking about Caitlin Hunter patterns, I have two more that I'm planning on knitting. So far, the plan to go to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival this year, this coming March, is still on. I'm hoping that it works out. I haven't bought tickets yet, so I have to do that. I have to get on it. But I have started planning the sweater that I'm going to make. So I'll be traveling to the UK in March. I'm assuming that it's going to be quite chilly, quite rainy, quite like the weather that we're having currently here in Seattle. So I wanted to make a sweater that was going to be really good for traveling because I'm planning on spending a couple weeks over there. My plan is to knit a Ramblin' Woman cardigan by Caitlin Hunter, and I would love to use all indie dyed yarns. This is a DK weight, very large and long pattern. It is overall color work using 7 colors, and I think it would be really cool to have something that was all from hand-dyed yarn. I don't know if that's going to happen. I already am looking through my stash and finding yarns that would definitely work, but they aren't hand-dyed yarn. So we'll see. I guess it depends on how much I'm going to be willing to spend on this cardigan. But so far I've picked up 2 hand-dyed yarns that I want to incorporate into this cardigan. So I'm really taking my time to think about what direction I want this to go. I'm trying to be very, what's the word I want? Not specific. I'm trying to be very intentional with the colors I pick for this cardigan. So I was at have I showed this on the podcast? I don't know if I've showed this on the podcast before. I went to a fiber festival last month that was put on by the ladies of Nano Stitch Lab Yarns. That's a hand-dyed yarn company based here in Seattle. And they had a bunch of local yarn dyers, and it was a really cool little festival. It was very small, but it's nice to meet the people who you see online who are yarn dyers and project bag makers. So this yarn is by Earl Grey Fiber Company, and it is on her Oolong DK base in the colorway Bisque. And I love this. I love how subtle it is. It's pretty much perfect. The other one that I picked up is by Cedar House Yarns, and this is on the Yearling DK base in the color Oyster. So like I said, I haven't nailed down exactly what other colors are going into this cardigan, but I'm currently thinking maybe a navy, maybe some sort of darker, oh, I was just looking, it was Jawbreaker Yarn, just did an update, and she's got a like brick colorway that is gorgeous and that I would love to put in this. So maybe some sort of like darker reddish, more rusty brick colorway, maybe a darker gray, navy, and some lighter ones, maybe going a little bit warmer with the lighter ones. I'm not really sure. I will have to have a look around, and actually this, I did consider this rolled oats. That looks really good, and potentially like yeah, but I do want this Explorer Fibers. I don't really want to break up my Tecumseh set, but that does look quite good. Yeah, I do like that a lot. So I might just have to order more Explorer Fibers. There's your solution. The last Caitlin Hunter pattern that is on my Make 9 list. I make no promises that those will be the only 3 Caitlin Hunter patterns that I make this coming year, but those are the ones that I intend to make. The last one is the Terrell Deco shawl. Terrell Deco? That was a shawl that she designed as part of a collaboration with one of her local knitting stores, local yarn stores, knitting stores. I can't remember who she collaborated with, but it may have been an exclusive pattern for them for a little while. It is now available. They did some kits, and the kits were gorgeous. I could not decide which one I liked more. There was a white and red one, and then there was a blue and gold one, and they were both absolutely stunning. So it's been a while since I knit a shawl. Actually, I've been so focused on sweaters, especially the last 6 months or so, that I haven't knit on a shawl in a very long time, it seems like. So that's one. I committed to one big shawl this year. That's the one that I really want to make. I don't have yarn for it. I'm not sure what yarn I'm going to be making. I believe it's a fingering weight shawl, but could be wrong. That's the one shawl that's on my list to make. I don't know, is the Better Together? The Better Together isn't really a shawl. And it's in DK weight, so maybe 2. Okay, so maybe I have 2 shawls on my... Anyway, I've talked about this next sweater on the podcast, and I've shown the yarn for this next sweater on the podcast, but Miss Hokie Locatelli did release her Specter sweater, and this is the yarn that I have planned. It is a faded jumper, top down, with... What is it, top down? I think it's top down. Here I go talking about things that I probably shouldn't be talking about because I don't actually know. I don't know what I'm talking about. The Specter sweater. It is a sweater. It is a faded sweater, and it is knit similar to the Weekender with the reverse stockinette. Instead of just one slip stitch down the front and the back, she's got many slip stitches, and then there's like a cool, fun pattern at the top with them like intertwining, and that's not really cables with slip. Maybe it is cable. Is it cables with slip stitches? Well, why couldn't it be cables with slip stitches? Why would I say that? What do I even know about it? This is the yarn. This is from Tiny Human Knits. I took all the tags off to look at it, and like, you know, you spread them out and you untwist them and you look at them all together and see how they're gonna fade in together, and then I couldn't remember which was which. I could look on her website. I could watch the episode where I talked about each and every one of these, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna ball them up and knit on them. This is looking like an awful lot of projects when you spread them all out and you look at all the yarn. I don't know when I'm going to get to this one. Originally, this was going to be my first cast on of 2019. However, for right now, we're in mid-December here, but where I'm at right now, this is going to be my next cast on. And the pattern that I'm going to knit with, the pattern that I'm going to use is the Sock Arms by Stephanie Lotvin. And this is that awesome pattern where you knit your body in, it's a sweater. First of all, it's a sweater and the body is knit in a solid color and the arms are knit in a coordinating self-striping color. So you can knit it in you can knit it in sock arm. Wow. You can knit it in sock yarn, and takes one skein of sock yarn to do both sleeves, at least for my size. I don't know exactly how large you can go with getting away with just one ball. This is not a skein. I looked it up. Dummies.com told me these are hanks, these are balls, and I don't have any skeins here, but skeins look different. Skeins are like the ones that are like kind of like that shaped, and they're kind of long, and a lot of like bigger box stores sell skeins. Like Michael's, most of the yarn there is in like Lion Brand. A lot of Lion Brand yarn is in skeins. Dummies.com, look it up. This is not a skein, this is a hank. And I'm going to correct myself now, because even though, you know why we call it a skein? Because it's a much nicer thing to say than hank. I'm sorry if your name is Hank. Like, I don't want to hate on your name, Hank, but hank is just not that pretty. And when we're talking about pretty yarn, we want to give it a pretty name. Hank. This is a skein. I want to call it a skein, but it's not. It's a hank. Okay. So these sock arms, the sock arm sweater is going to be knit in this glorious, this is 75/25 superwash merino and nylon. This is Valkyrie fibers, and this is her matte sock base. And this color is, oh, I should have looked this up. This is the Idun. Just look at the pretty yarn and don't mind my ignorance. So these ones, the Idun from the Ragnarok series. Yeah, these are, so the 2019 color of the year, the Pantone, yeah, man, saying words is hard. The 2019 color of the year is Living Coral, and check out what I bought before they announced the color of the year. I'm feeling pretty ahead of the game here. I would call this Living Coral. I mean, it's a little bit peachy, but we can fake it. We can call this color of the year. And I'm really liking their reasoning behind it. Yeah, I'm liking where I'm liking where their prediction of 2019 is going, with a more like tactile and more texture and more natural feeling, rather than this disconnect that maybe we're feeling a little bit here. Although ultraviolet wasn't, well, yeah, ultraviolet is pretty like digital and more like man-made, whereas like living coral, they're going for just a more natural thing. Here I am once again talking about things that I don't actually fully understand. Or not that I don't understand them, it's just that I haven't processed them enough to actually like talk about them. And here we are at the final pattern in my Make 9 plans. And it is the Mount Bachelor by K. Hopkins. And this is a sweater that's kind of more of a tunic length. It is knit with, you can either knit it on a DK weight yarn or knit it with 2 fingering weights held together. And it's got this like marled thing going on. When you hold 2 different colors together, it's got like a marled top, and then the middle part is a solid color, and then the bottom part is another solid color, but you marl the 2 colors together in the top part. And I was so ambitious that I got this yarn and I swatched, so I didn't get very far on my swatch until I needed the needles. But here's the beginnings of my little swatch, and I'm mostly happy with the way the marl is. I know it's really hard to see. So I'm mostly happy with the way this is marling together. I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little bit too perfectionist, but there are certain places that the gray is popping out a little bit more, and then the white comes back in, and it's not quite as even as I want it. But I'm hoping that's just because this swatch is so small, and when it gets bigger it kind of looks a little bit more even. The yarn that I'm using is Knit Picks. I picked this up during their big November sale. It's the Capretta Superwash, so it is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. I knit my Modern Sailor, or the French name was Marinière Moderne. I knit that sweater with this base, and it's held up pretty well. It does pill. It's cashmere. The softer the yarn, the more likely it is to pill. At least that's in my experience. But it is a very nice yarn. It was on sale, so this is the Moonstone Heather, and I'm holding it with their, it's the Capretta Superwash. This is just their undyed. So I've got those 2 for the marled part, the solid, and the 2 solid parts. Oh, this has been sitting, oh there we go. This has been in a bag for a little while. It was sort of unceremoniously chucked into a bag when I started on other projects. So the other design feature in this is to have a contrasting color that you make like a little, there's a little Latvian braid in the middle, and then there's also like a cuff detail that you use this contrasting color with. I didn't read the pattern very closely, so the contrasting color is supposed to be a DK weight, and I think that's just to make your life a little bit easier so you don't have to hold 2 together when you're doing those little details. I didn't read that. It's recommended that you use a base with silk in it. So this is the Knit Picks Diadem Fingering, and it is 50% baby alpaca, 50% mulberry silk. So I didn't read the instructions, so I'm just going to use this base, but I'm going to hold 2 strands together. I am 90% sure I'm going to use this purple color. I don't remember what this one is. Nope, I don't remember. But because this was on sale, I picked up 2 because I couldn't quite decide which one I wanted to do. So I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to go with the red or the purple. Right now I'm thinking purple. But who knows when I'm actually going to get to this project, because there are at least 3 of these Make 9s that I want to get done before March, which might be a little ambitious. So I have a feeling I'm not going to get to the Mount Bachelor, even though this is one of the ones that's been in my queue since January of this year, almost a year now. But I do want to knit it. It looks like it's a really like functional sweater that's going to be really comfortable. But yeah, maybe fall of 2019, we'll see the Mount Bachelor sweater finally come into the world. We made it through my 2019 Make 9 plans, all subject to change. Who knows what will happen in 2019, but I'm really excited to knit some of these projects. If you are participating in the 2019 Make 9 challenge, make sure to let me know in the comments below. Tell me what you're thinking. Post it on Instagram so we can see what you're doing, or if you're not, tell me why you're not planning on doing the 2019 Make 9 challenge. That's okay too. I hope you enjoyed that little tour of my future plans, and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. See ya!